pretty decent amount of information regarding the upcoming Symetra changes. Although we don't have all the specifics like cooldowns, we have a pretty good idea of what the character is going to look like and what she will be capable of once the rework goes through. And now it seems like we just got kind of an unofficial category into the defense category. They're taking away some of that utility that she has, and they're cranking up the amount of damage potential that she can has. But one of the event ends on June 11th. I would expect to see a new PTR build with the Symetra changes sometime later that week. So 12th, 13th, 14th, somewhere in that range. We'll have it on the PTR for maybe 3 or so weeks, and then it's going to be pushed to the live version of the game sometime early mid-July, but again, it will be disabled for the Overwatch League finals. On top of that, we're also getting a new hero early July, and then shortly after that is going to be the Torbjorn.
Now do so much damage that she can kill a 200 HP target in just 1.02 seconds. In 6 seconds, she can bring her damage up to a 100% charged Zarya. Symetra's 120 DPS fire already is scary, but the 195 DPS is just next level. The left click goes from 65 damage per second to 130 to 195, all in 2-second intervals. You guys really don't realize how much damage this is, but even if it only went up to 150, the next point is just going to show you guys why this is such upon doing damage to shields. This charges her primary fire up while also giving her ammo. So all Sim has to do is walk up to a Ryan, hold left click or right trigger for a bit and get up to 195 DPS and then mow down the entire enemy team. If you thought Brigitte and reworked Hanzo made tanks difficult to play, just wait until Symetra is reworked. Tank mains, I'm just really sorry. You're never going to have that shield up without it being fodder for Symetra's microwave of death. The only nerf to her primary is now that it doesn't lock on and acts more like Zarya's beam. But just in case you thought that was a bad change, they also happen to increase the range on that. So overall, this is a monstrous buff that alone would bring Sim to the top tier of overpowered heroes. But folks, we're just getting across the map and set up. This change is actually somewhat reasonable if they didn't change anything else about the turrets. But regardless, this is still a net buff in addition to the laser cutter gun that she has. It's going to be lots of fun setting up, only to have some turrets microwaving you from behind, as well as having a turret fly out of nowhere and instantly lock on and mow you down. But I mentioned that this would be an okay change if they didn't change anything else. But in true Blizzard fashion, they just can't buff one part of her kit. They have to buff each and every part of every part in her kit. So not only do the turrets fly, but they've got some values changed around as well. Prepared to be shown the new reality. Symetra's alternate fire now goes 3 times as fast, at 30 meters per second. For a frame of reference, Pharah's rockets go 35 meters per second, meaning her right click is a literal Pharah rocket. It does 130 damage upon impact now, and it also does splash damage upon the initial impact and explosion. So basically, she now can shoot Pharah rockets or Junkrat mines, or she can do something that does a bit more damage than Genji's blade, that has a faster fire. Pump a ton of buffs into her right click ability, allowing her to do more damage than some of the spammy damage dealers in the game. So with a 30 meter per second travel time, 130 damage upon impact, and a 1-second charge, Symetra can literally spam her right click all she wants and do massive amounts of damage to groups of enemies. This is going to be absolutely ridiculous, and I think this is by far the worst change to her gun. Being able to do this much damage at such a little cost while also being so reliable from a hero like Sim will just move her into a spot that is unimaginably powerful. Sounds super fun, right? Reminds me a lot of actually the Mercy rework, but a lot worse. The teleporter will remain for a short period of time and allow you to teleport allies. It will have a 25 meter range, and you will place the entrance right in front of you, and the exit ends up where you aimed, 25 meters or so away. The flank teleporter is an already really good strategy, but now Sim doesn't need her allies to be grouped up and spawn, nor does she need to charge up her ultimate, and they can be instantly moved into the backline with no problem at all. Blizzard, I'm really confused by this change, but guess what guys, it gets where a teleporter ends up in the enemy backline and a diva bomb ends up just team wiping the unsuspecting enemy team. This is such a ridiculously stupid powerful change that I'm just really wondering what the Blizzard team is on. One of the changes in this list alone is enough to bring Symetra into the meta. This entire rework, however, is going to completely destroy the meta. I'm really serious about this. I know it sounds like I'm fear-mongering or spreading a bunch of fear in the community, but this is seriously one of the dumbest changes that I've ever heard from Blizzard. There's no other way to describe it. The amount of power that she's going to have from any aspect of her kit will allow her to just completely shut down any counters that she has, any team comps you see. We're going to see shield that is entirely covering the map. It's placed much like May's wall, and it also goes through walls. This is one of those changes that will ruin the game and the pace of the game alone. A good Symetra will learn the OP spots to place her shield, cutting off the entire enemy team, blocking all of the damage, and allowing some insane plays that were totally unimaginable. Not to mention, she can place it from spawn, meaning if she wants to disrupt the team fight that's going on point while she died, she can just place her ultimate in spawn and it will make it all the way to the point, regardless of where she's standing. This ultimate ability is also overlooked as one of the overpowered ability that she is getting, but this is probably one of the scarier changes. All in all, these Symetra changes are really crazy. I'm kind of scared where Overwatch is going to be going if we keep seeing reworks and changes to Overwatch's meta like this. Blizzard has a tendency to overbuff heroes. We've seen Mercy become overbuffed. We're seeing Hanzo becoming overbuffed. The release of Brigitte is also another example of Blizzard not really understanding how much balance needs to be going into the game. When you rework a hero, you shouldn't be buffing everything in the game, but as we are seeing with the Symetra rework, all of her abilities are just getting really huge buffs in general. I know this rework is intended to bring her up to pace with the fast-paced game of Overwatch, but this is just making her really powerful without really changing her pace at all. All they're doing is setting all of the sliders on Symetra's abilities to the maximum while also making them really suppressive. Symetra falls under one of those heroes that is very suppressive to play against, but these changes are only going to make her worse. I don't think that this direction for Symetra is a good change at all, mostly because of the insane changes, but also because Symetra is known for one of those heroes that is a little bit easier to play, and these changes are just going to make her even easier to play, bringing her to one of those places in the game where she is an unliked hero, and we're going to see a lot more toxicity introduced if this hero actually goes live. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about these changes. I'm very interested in what the community has to say because I know that we do have a lot of Symetra mains in